So wait, is this meeting being recorded?
Yes. No. Did it take a minute to do it today? No? All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Readington Recreation January meeting. So glad you all could join us this evening. We have to actually first have a vote for a chair because the chair can't call us to order. So I'll call us to order and ask for a motion for chair for the committee.
So can you guide us through the process? Because
Sure.
I was here last year. We didn't do this formally.
Yep, we didn't. That's correct.
I think the only member was
Allison. Yep.
Allison, right? And we didn't do this last year.
Nope.
So is this going to work like other boards where somebody makes a nomination, there's a second, and there's a vote?
That would be correct.
Okay. That's the process. Okay. So is anyone going to make a nomination?
I would like to nominate Manny.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Any other nominations?
Can we self-nominate?
Yes, you can.
Okay, well then I would like to self-nominate as the longest standing member currently up here.
Okay. Anyone want to second that? All right, well then I think we need to take a vote on the first. Right, you got a first and a second? All in favor? For Manny
Are we
being
voting
chair?
for Manny? Okay.
Correct. There wasn't a second for Allison. So, is that yay, nay? Got
Do you want us to all just do it at once? or does
All
Dan
in
need to
favor?
do-
Aye?
Aye.
Thank you. All right.
May I ask if this meeting is recorded?
It is.
Are the meetings usually recorded?
Meetings are recorded so that we have to do minutes, and now that we're in this room, we have the ability to use the recording. And we obviously have more participation, so we need to document.
So meetings, the recreation meetings are usually recorded?
The Recreation Committee meetings haven't been recorded. We haven't needed to move into this room.
Because my understanding was that township committee meetings are recorded and then the zoning meetings are recorded. I wasn't aware that recreation is as well.
They weren't. We were in the smaller room because we didn't have a need to be in the larger room.
Does that need to be reflected in the bylaws or the code that it's able to be recorded? You're saying no?
No, because
Okay.
we record them, it's just, we use a recorder.
Okay.
Instead of the video.
Okay.
But this is all hooked up together, so we don't have to use the little recorder.
Just bear with me for a second.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the chair calls, do we have to call the meeting to order, or?
Please?
Okay, chair calls meeting to order. It's 7:34 p.m., January 24th, 2024. Announcing all laws have been, for the governing, or the recreational committee have been met, and the meeting has been duly advertised. Okay.
Okay, great. We're going to table the minutes for November
I think so.
because we need to,
Only two members were there. I mean,
correct.
technically typically only 2 members should be able to then vote for the
Mhm.
meetings in November. Unless that's okay to proceed with 2 members.
We'll check that with the clerk tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, in terms of old business, should the chair call the election of the vice chair?
We usually don't have a vice chair for
Okay.
this committee. It's just the chair. Mhm.
Okay, because I did see it on the ordinance that it had potential vice chair, so we didn't want to.
We've never had one.
All right, so we're skipping that. Do we need to take the meetings present, the members present? Do we need to take?
I got it.
Yeah.
She's got you.
There's one.
Usually typing over here.
There's
I'm
a
good.
member that's missing, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, into old business, update holiday programs.
Since our last meeting, we had the turkey trail, which was very successful, and we want to congratulate the Cheswick family who won first place. They won a $50 gift certificate to Sorello's, and the Vliet and Fusco family got second place, and they got a $25 gift certificate to a rec program. We had the holiday tree lighting, which was outstanding. We had about 150 people there. It was beautiful weather. We lucked out. Usually in the wintertime, we never know the tree lighting, whether or not we're going to get good weather, but we had good participation, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. It was a lot of fun, and we appreciate the fire department for assisting us with a transportation for Santa. So thank you very much to the White House Fire Department for doing that. We had the holiday hunt in Pickle Park, which is very exciting for the dog walkers. They think that's the best thing since sliced bread. But we want to congratulate the De Silva family who won first prize, $75, and the Mixon family won second place, and that's a $25 gift certificate. So we ended the year on a high note, which is great.
That's great.
Yep, we had 210 programs in 2023 with 14,551 participants.
How many thousand?
14,551. So it was a great year.
Is that a record year for us?
It's about even with last year.
20.
Just like 50 people under, which is statistically the same.
Okay. That's pretty good.
It's excellent. It's
Okay.
excellent. The year before that was 7,000, so.
No, that's
We've
COVID.
doubled.
COVID after.
No, pre-COVID was COVID was 3,000, then it went 7, but 7 was also 2018, so pre-COVID. So we've surpassed our pre-COVID, which is great. We're
great.
excited.
Update on that cover the travel and rec basketball.
Sure, I'm going to help Ladina.
Anything
Yep.
else on the?
I'm loud enough, I don't need the mic. We have 6 travel basketball teams all playing in the JBL League. Everyone's doing great. The 4th and 5th grade boys right now, I think, are 5 and 2.
Mhm.
6th grade boys are 9 and 1. 7th grade boys are 2 and 5, but they're in a really tough division and they're doing well. The 8th grade boys, oh gosh, my memory. I'm sorry, they're doing very well. They're above 500, and their 5th grade girls are also above 100, doing very, very well. So, they are around almost finishing their regular season. Rec basketball is awesome Saturday mornings between Hollenbrook and both gyms in the middle school. Kids participating from 1st grade through 8th grade. Everyone's doing just fine.
I know my son is on it.
Yeah. You like
They're
it?
doing great.
You like it?
Is that fun? Was it like
yeah,
better?
he's enjoying, yeah.
Basketball or soccer?
Yeah, because it's been the same coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Right.
he liked it from October, the same coaches.
That's great. Either.
Okay, any other old business?
No, we're good.
New business. Update on winter programs.
Sure, we're running 36 different programs this winter. We resumed our fitness programming, Zumba, yoga, and karate for adults and for children. Indoor soccer, men's basketball, also resumed after the winter break. All of the individual programs began on the 6th, so all the pre-K programs, rec basketball, art programs for adults, which are all sold out, science is sold out, so everything's up and running and doing well. We still have openings for the end of winter for some March programming. We put in a separate season, so at the end of the basketball season there'll be a short 4-week season as an in-between the winter season and the spring season. It'll give people a chance to have a 4-week option for some of the classes, try things out, see what they like, before they make decisions about spring.
How many of those classes? Those are listed on the website, right?
They're all listed on the website. Yep, and registration is open.
And are you seeing registrations for that in-between period?
We are, because that'll be going back outside. We have some indoor stuff over at White House, and people usually in March are looking for something in that in-between season. Our spring sports don't start until middle to the end of April, most of them.
Spring program registration.
Spring program registration is open. We have 41 programs on the website open for registration at the moment. In January, we have girls lacrosse and softball. People need to remember that registration deadlines for that are mid-February, so that's coming up soon. That registration will end. Rec soccer will end in March. We have a little more time for that. We've been doing gangbusters. In January, we processed 311 registrations, which is higher than we've ever done in January, and that has a lot to do with summer rec camp, which is also open and is selling out. So we're doing well.
Yeah, the only announcement for the spring programs has been the post and on the website,
So
on Facebook.
The spring program brochure went out via email to everyone who's on the email list.
Okay.
The programs were in the school newsletters. They have gone out on Facebook, on the township site. It went up yesterday, it was like afternoon.
Okay.
And we are ready to mail a brochure out to every household, but we haven't rolled books for 2024 yet, so finance isn't open, so we can't process postage and printing in order to get that mailed out. But I do have it, leave out front for people to see if they would like it.
So I know the feedback that I got from one person is that the post on the website, and I don't know if you guys seen it, there's an image, and there's like the click here function, and they were trying to click on the image and they couldn't get over. So that's been the sort of negative feedback on the experience. The links are only active if you go onto the PDF file, right?
Well, you have to link to that actual
You have to open
brochure.
the PDF, and then these links are active.
Correct.
So that person was struggling with the Facebook page,
Yes.
where they were trying to click on the click here, and the click here wasn't doing anything.
Because it's like, what, just like a
Yeah.
screenshot? of
It's an
the
image.
screen?
It's an
screenshot.
image. He needed to put
Yeah.
a
So
link there with his,
Yeah, so they were struggling because I guess they didn't realize to click the PDF.
yeah.
I don't know if there's any feedback you passed on to figure.
Well, I will certainly let JJ know that where he put the link to the page wasn't as obvious. It might have been better just to use like part of the
Yeah.
image at the top.
Right, because
Instead of the whole thing.
The person was, like I said, trying to click on the image.
Mm-hmm.
They never realized the PDF link, so.
Yeah. But we do have the print brochure ready to go out and be mailed out to everyone's home. So hopefully they are hoping to have finance done, the rolling of the books done this week, and if that's true, then we can start to
The
process
spring
purchase
brochure,
orders.
When are we targeting that to go out?
As soon as possible. We had hoped to have it out sooner than this, but we had to wait for processing the purchase orders. So hopefully next week, we're going to be processing purchase orders, maybe by the end of this week. So we'll get it out as fast as we can.
Next item, by the way, new members, feel free to interject if you guys have any comments on the items here.
Just a question, actually. Year
Sure.
over year, do you know where we are with our spring and summer registration versus last year? Is it down? Is it up? Is it the same?
Well, it's down right, it's up right now, but it's up right now mostly due to how far in advance we are in summer camp. So summer camp, we have 125 registrations. Last year, we had 54 at this time.
Okay.
So we are
Way ahead then.
We're way ahead. The only program that we're down a little bit year-to-date is rec soccer. And in all honesty, because soccer doesn't start until April, the deadline isn't until March. I believe parents are prioritizing getting their kids into camp because we're going to sell out, and they need to get that done. And then once they have accomplished that, then they can move on to the next thing.
What's the sellout number? When does camp? Is there?
Good question. We keep ratios with certain age and grade groups.
Okay.
So, X amount of kids to each staff person.
Got it.
And then we kind of align where we see the trend of kids coming in, so we can accommodate.
So it's a target that moves, depending on.
It's about, a total is about 186.
Okay, so you're getting close.
But, so we're really close. Right now, kindergarten is sold out, and there's one spot in 4th grade. So everybody, when you go home, if you have multiple children that you want to get into age groups, please go on and register for camp if you want to get in there.
We're also keep a wait list, so if
Mhm.
kindergarten is sold
Yep.
out, but if someone tells us we'll keep a wait list, and if there is a need, if we can have enough kids to justify hiring another staff person for that group, we can work
Or being
that end,
Okay.
if need be.
Or if we get a smaller group in an age group, then we can
Shuffle a shift.
shuffle
Yeah.
shuffle a person over.
It's a chess game.
But
Does kindergarten count 4 and 5-year-olds or only 5-year-olds?
So they have to be entering kindergarten in September.
If their birthday is in September.
They have to be entering kindergarten in
Mhm.
September.
Actually, I have a question as I continue to on board with all this. Specifically, like even with the camp, it's very popular. It seems like the goal is 186 children. And I do know, say that the park, Summer Road Park, it does close. And I wanted to see, like, how does that align with Green Acres? Because I have read Green Acres that say parks or Green Acre property should not be closed unless it's for, say, maintenance or safety, really about denying access to the community. So just, I know you're
sure.
closer to this.
We are able to close for a particular program as long as there's still public access. So the park is only closed for the hours that camp is going on, and that's for the safety of the children, because with the public there, it's a wide open space. We don't want anyone, or using the bathrooms, there's only ones that are bathrooms for the kids, so having the public in the bathrooms with the kids would be a problem. But we are able to use Green Acres property for programming, and that can be programming that people are registering for. It's open to the public before we start camp, and it's open to the public at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when camp is over, and it's only for the 6 weeks that camp is going on that it's closed to the public during those hours. Thank you.
Any other aspects on summer rec camp registrations?
The only thing that I would mention here for new updates, I do have the dates for our big events for 2020.
I was just asking about that, because I didn't see it as a line item on the agenda.
We
like
just finalized them.
The event dates?
Yeah, so the parade is coming along. So the
It's a Memorial Day parade. Right?
Correct. The purpose of the committee has been, it was put together so that we would have volunteers to run and develop programs and volunteer for our special events. So I wanted to make sure that you all had the event dates and could put them in your planners so you can plan on
I'm hoping we
assisting
have
and
new
attend.
volunteers today.
Me too. So the Memorial Day Parade is Monday, the 27th. The spectaculars, summer spectaculars moved to Tuesday, June 18th this year. That is because of where the graduations fall for the middle school and the high school. So instead of it being on Wednesday night, we're gonna have to move it to Tuesday. And the Halloween program will be Saturday, October 26th. I don't have a date for the tree lighting yet. But those are all things where we will need assistance in setting up the events. We cook thousands of hot dogs, we register floats and do all kinds of things. So please plan to attend and assist. We run the concession stand at the spectacular. So
Right now, these are the 4 events.
those are the 4 community events, correct. Correct. And then, of course, we hope that you'll coach and help. I mean, Joni's been running, she ran field hockey, developed our field hockey program, ran field hockey for forever, and now she runs our open play pickleball.
Yeah.
Melissa ran our holiday tournament for basketball.
Dean
Raised
knows I'm a soccer guy, so.
150 to 200,000 for the program. So everybody's, Mark's here, he started soccer.
Yeah.
So where your interests lie,
Yeah.
it's time to step up, and we'll make it a program.
Soccer and basketball, that's my sports.
Yep,
Okay.
excellent.
All right. Now, you have, the last item here is governance. Now, this is, you notice this is a new one.
Yes,
So this was-
Stephanie asked. that
Yeah, this
we
was
put
at my
on.
request, and I think a couple of things that I wanted to talk about with respect to governance. So first of all, I think we talked about at the last meeting, there was a backlog of minutes that were not posted on the Readington website. And when I asked at the last meeting.
Yes, and they're
If-
up there.
Yeah, I know they've been
Mhm.
put up, but it
Yep.
seems like they were provided to the town and it wasn't put up. So there might be some kind of a gap there.
So, they also lost our 2022 stuff, and I gave them all of that. That had to
Yeah.
do with Daniel's law, so a lot of stuff was
Yes.
taken down. And then, but it's all,
But yeah,
it's
no,
all
I think,
back.
so that was one thing I thought maybe a gap in the process, but then as over the past couple of weeks, I've reviewed the Readington code regarding the rec committee. I don't think that's been followed over the past couple of years. I think rec is supposed to meet at least 10 times a year. Last year you met 9, the year before you met 8. The code gives 8 responsibilities to the rec committee, and in my look back through the minutes of the town committee and rec, it looks like only maybe 2 or 3 of those things remains relevant as times have changed.
Mm-hmm.
The bylaws, which haven't been revised for about 10 years,
Mhm.
weren't being followed. I think in the beginning of this meeting, we talked about the chair not being re-elected each year. And they also conflict with the code in a few places, which is not, we can't have that continue. So I think it makes sense, I mean, we can, certainly I'm open to any suggestions, but they may not be fit for purpose anymore. And so I think it might be good to take a deeper dive, maybe set up like a subcommittee to take a look and figure out
At the guidelines you're referring to, specifically to
the guidelines. Well, and the code as well. I think we may need to recommend some changes to the town committee about the code, if it's not aligning with what the needs are right now and not relevant anymore. I think we need to to take a look at that and make it relevant.
Mhm.
So I think what I would suggest is setting up a subcommittee. We can figure out what needs to change and how it needs to change, and then make those recommendations either here at the town committee, loop in the town administrator if there's gaps in the process that he can help with. But I think that's what I'd suggest. I don't know if anyone who's been on the committee, or Gabrielle, you or Dina, have
Well,
any
these,
suggestions?
I can tell you that these are the only revision that was done in 2014 was adding the ability to attend one meeting virtually.
And we don't have
Other
that.
than
That's
that, they go back to before I was here.
not, okay, yeah, so then they probably do need,
So,
So should we, because the guidelines, right, that's why I brought I think the vice chair, because I think it's in the guidelines.
How old is the code, did you say?
I couldn't tell from what I saw online when the code was approved. I know there was some point where the rec committee was set up, and it may have even been then, like the first iteration of the bylaws.
Sharon, do you know? Yeah, because that's 25 years, yeah.
But is there any other mechanism that you'd suggest in terms of like updating all of this to make it relevant to what you need today?
I mean, the question is, should we, right, look at it?
I think we
It's like-
should.
It sounds like there's an interest to look
Sure.
at it.
In some ways, it's surprising that it is an ordinance because it's an advisory committee, so it didn't need to be an ordinance because it's really it's a group of volunteers who assist with programming, the department with programming. So,
But it is an ordinance.
but it is an ordinance, so,
Yeah, and I think part of the problem is that we're not, like, some of the ordinance doesn't seem relevant anymore, and it's like, I think we need to sync it up.
I think that
So it's chapter 46 of our code.
more than likely, I know when Sharon was the attorney, she would have recommended it not be an ordinance, that it just be a committee. So,
So you're thinking this predates Sharon?
she may have been asked to do it, but it might predate her. Yeah, it could. I mean, she would have done it as an ordinance if they asked her
So
to,
the
but it wouldn't have
membership-
been,
The membership portion of the code says it was amended in 12/20/21,
membership percent 2021.
right, by ordinance number 39-2021.
We didn't remember membership. Oh, it said 5 members, that's why.
Ah, okay. So that
Yes.
wasn't it.
Yes, the
It was
township
voted.
committee did that.
It was
Yes.
voted.
3
Okay.
years ago.
Yeah,
So that was the last amendment to
Mhm.
the ordinance was in 2021.
and that's the only amendment I know that's ever,
Yeah, all
Okay.
right. Look, I'm not opposed if the board members want to, huddle together and review what the guidelines are and what the code is, and see if there's recommendations for changes.
I think with 5 people, it would behoove everybody
yeah.
to look at both and compare and contrast. If we were a group of 13, 15, it'd be a different story. But
Mhm.
having 5 members
I think we
in the
can all
office
work
staff,
on it.
we can definitely
Yeah.
look and see what the nuances are.
And in all honesty, I can go and speak with the clerk tomorrow and get some information from
You can always
Karen.
bring reviews on this in the next meeting, bring ideas.
Yeah,
What could be changed or improved, both in the guidelines
yeah, and if
and
not
in
yeah.
the code.
If not everybody is interested, or we think it needs a real deep dive, we can set up like a subcommittee and have
Yeah,
separate
I think
meetings.
maybe that, let's park that for next meeting, and we
Okay.
can decide if we need a subcommittee
Yeah,
to look at it, or everyone just kind of shares their notes and we compile the notes,
okay.
and then Gabrielle kind of shares it with next steps. Well, I guess in the guidelines, that could be just published. By the way, I didn't notice the guidelines are not published on the website. Should they be published on the website, the town website? The guidelines PDF file?
I don't know, they never have been.
Okay.
Since I've been here, they've never been
We should ask,
on,
like,
but I'll
owners
ask.
that.
And see what other committees do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I have a question. I know it looks like we're going to take some things offline, but specifically for the bylaws, and even as I was trying to level set and have more familiarity with rec, I did request the annual reports for the past 5 years, and I saw that you said you're waiting on the numbers for 2023. Really a line of visibility. I'm unsure what the process is, what it has been, but even like annual reports, who creates those reports, who presents those reports, how they're created. Personally, I mean, the reports that I was provided were very helpful, and thank you. But like even personally, I would like even visibility as a committee member into raw data to see trends, like registrations or revenues or things like that, like in real time. Do we have that, like as a committee member, would we have a line of visibility with, say, into those financial aspects like registrations or revenues and annual reports?
This is an advisory committee, so you don't have financial oversight. That the Recreation is a department, and that is something that is done departmentally. Certainly, we report on what the numbers are every month, so you get a report every month that has the numbers for registration. So that's already included in the monthly report that you get. You didn't get one this month because we don't have the numbers yet, because they haven't finalized everything because the finance director's gone.
Would I say have a line of visibility with seeing raw data? Because I had a few questions that came up when I was reading the annual reports. Would I have line of sight into some of those numbers or not?
Well, you could certainly ask the questions when the report's being presented.
Or maybe, so are you planning to present that in February?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if
That was
there,
the question.
it may
Correct.
even be in advance, we can.
Yeah, you can send your questions in advance, absolutely.
Okay.
You'll have it before we do it. So I'm hoping, actually, that, next week, if they've finished, because we have to present budgets on Monday, so it would be really good if we closed the year. But certainly we have that information, or any question that you have in advance of any meeting, you're welcome to email it to me, and I'll bring those numbers to the meeting. But you will get a report. I mean, Manny knows, you get the participation every month of
Yeah.
what our registrations are and what our revenues are. All right. Anything else on that topic?
Anything else on governance?
No, I think it sounds like we're just all gonna take it away as an action item
Yeah.
to compare. Like, I've already noticed some things that are inconsistent. We probably should at least change the bylaws, if not talk to the town committee about the code, depending on
Yeah, whatever needs to be changed.
what we think is the right answer going forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it should be the same messaging on both.
Yeah, and the bylaws can't conflict with the code. So, yeah, agreed. So we'll pick it up in February.
Okay. Any other comments on the governance? Okay. Okay. Public comments. If you can please come to the podium so that the recording can pick it up.
Hi guys, how you doing? I'm Joni Barrett. I've been a community member for over 28 years now. I volunteered through Readington Recreation for almost 25 years. As Gabrielle said, I ran the field hockey program 2nd through 8th grade for almost 16 years. And I've been bugging her to get pickleball for years. And she's like, "Ha, I got the perfect thing for you." So we started that last year with good success. I don't get involved in a lot of things that are going on in the town. I feel like we had really good reason not to. There was never something that really occurred to me as being off key. But there are some things that I just, in recent months and in recent things going on that I just had some questions about because things weren't matching up. One of the things that I do have a question about is this being a volunteer, committee, and I have I guess these are the guidelines or guidance, is that what we're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between the ordinance that you're talking about and the guidelines? So you were talking about the guidelines and then you were talking about the bylaws or the ordinance and bylaws.
So the code is what is approved by the township committee. That's the township's code. And in the code, it says that the committee establishes these procedures.
Okay.
So there's things like responsibilities, membership, and meetings that are defined in the ordinance.
The other question I have is I've been asked for years to be on the committee, and in the past years I know that there really hasn't been a lot of people interested in to say it kind of the way it really is. I couldn't do it because I had a lot of other volunteer things going on. But all of a sudden, and I know I was asked to fill out an application in the years past a couple times, and just over recent months I have a concern about the meeting and people who come. And I do notice, there's been a big ruckus about 4 members that, were volunteers and no longer. But according to the guidance that we have here, basically the prospective member is really one who has attended at least 3 consecutive meetings and submits a letter of interest to the Readington Recreation Committee and to the Director of Recreation. So what I'm asking is, have all of you done that? Have you all submitted a letter, and did you go to all 3 meetings prior to submitting a letter to try to be on the committee?
So that's one of the things that I've identified as problematic. The code, the municipal code conflicts with the bylaws. And from a governance perspective, that's improper. You can't have bylaws that conflict with the code that enables them. So that's one of the things that we need to dig into.
So, in your opinion, do you feel it's okay for someone to just show up at a meeting and just be added to the committee without even putting in their volunteer service? Because this is about being a volunteer, really. I mean, this is what it is. It's not about trying to change the township and everything that has been running smoothly for many years. But so you did not come to 3 consecutive meetings. Were you even aware that was a policy? Or were you just somebody said, I want you on the committee? That's what I'm just asking. So you never submitted a letter or came to any previous meetings? You're saying that, right?
I'm not saying anything.
You're not saying
But
anything?
thank you for your comment.
Okay. I'm sorry, go ahead, Allison.
I've been on the committee almost 5 years.
Okay.
I attended over a full year of meetings before I was officially asked to be full-time on the committee, and I volunteered in multiple recreation programs and activities and ways over the years. So.
Okay, great. Lisa, how about you? Did you come to 3 meetings prior to this and submit a letter in the application?
Well, that 3 meetings, that note, the only time I've ever read that was with the bylaws, and that was just before this meeting. What I did was I submitted a letter to volunteer. But for that type of criteria, I would also present the same question to the former volunteers, because my understanding was that some of them missed multiple meetings, sometimes 3 in a row. So, this is a broader question, and that's something we want to address with the bylaws.
Yeah, and I know there have been people that have tried to, that came and were like alternates, and they came to like almost every meeting, and their name was not even submitted onto the committee.
Well, I want to say this. What I hear from the bylaws is that you need to attend 70% of meetings. So if there's 10, you can only miss 3. But there are some in the past, like say Melissa Adams, I saw last year she missed 4 meetings. Or Sharon, she missed 3 meetings in a row in 2023. So,
And also, I want to remind everybody, this is a volunteer. This is something that people are doing out of the goodness of their heart to help our community and help our children grow through recreational sports. So Melissa may have had a family something that maybe she couldn't attend.
understood.
But
There's
her time on here.
I don't think I missed 4 meetings.
So the other question, so,
You can ask me.
Yep,
I'm Carol Ann Sherwood. I have 2 little boys in town. I have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old. I'm very active in the community. I have been since I moved here in 2020, just 3 weeks before COVID. I ran the Tricky Tray last year for the HSA and we made $30,000. I did a muscular dystrophy walk for my son's 2nd grade friend who has muscular dystrophy at Hollenbrook. I was on the Lions Scouts. I had to be a leader when somebody's father stepped off. You needed 2 people. I run a breast cancer team. I work for Hunterdon County One Voice, for the children of Hunterdon County. I'm all about the kids in Hunterdon County. I'm very active with our HSA. I'm a substitute teacher for Our Lady of Lourdes. I'm a substitute teacher at North Branch Reformed Church Preschool. My life is volunteering. So I can't speak for the others, but I can speak for myself, and I've heard, you know, all of the volunteers that are no longer up here. And personally, as a mom in this town, I thank you very much for your service. But I don't think that it's fair to assume that we are not volunteers, because
I never assumed that, I'm sorry, I didn't say that at all. I'm just talking about the recommendation.
know,
I
but
never assumed that.
my kids are active in rec. I send them to rec camp. I'm always at the trunk or treat. I recruit my friends for the trunk or treat. I thank these women all the time for everything that they do. I'm at the Summer Spectacular. I would have helped at the Summer Spectacular had I known that I could have. I'm just new to this. I'm getting into this, and how I got up here was I did fill out an application. I also helped school board members with their election, and after doing a lot of stuff in town, someone said to me, hey, they're putting out, you know, they need volunteers in town to do some committees. My brother's very active in another town. He's on all the boards. He's on the township council. I never was interested in politics at all. I'm still not. I'm interested in helping for the kids. So I said, I looked at everything, planning board, zoning board, nope. I said, rec committee. I know the ladies. I'm active in the town. My kids are in the rec. And I would do that. So I submitted an application. I didn't know anything until I heard my name at this meeting where everybody was fired up. And my phone was ringing like crazy. They mentioned your name at the meeting, and I said, I don't know. I didn't hear anything from anybody, but I guess I was picked. And
Thank
so
you.
here I am.
Yeah.
And I'm really sorry that things happen the way that they happen. But I can't speak for the others. I hope, you know, we're all doing this to volunteer and for the greater good of our children in our community. But I know when I say, I'm always about all the kids. Not my own, not just my own, all of the kids. I'm about Readington, I'm about the community, I'm about hearing what everybody has to say, and I really hope that I make you guys proud. I didn't want to come here, I mean, imagine that. I didn't even know what I was getting myself into. And now I'm here, and I hope that I make you guys proud.
Thank you. And then lastly, I'm just asking Keith, you know, what...
I'm also in the same boat, but I'm also an active member. I actually play in the Readington Men's Basketball League, so I'm in the league. I will be coaching my son's baseball this year as well in the Readington Tewksbury Little League as a 4-year-old son, so I'm going to be very active going forward. I did the same thing she did. I filled out the application. I'm also a alternate on the planning board, so I'm really trying to get active in the town, you know, to get myself out there and try to make this a better town.
Great,
I've been
thank
here
you.
for about 4 years now, and
Thank you for doing that. And just a quick question, if you hadn't filled out an application, how were you appointed to this as a member?
I did fill out the application.
Okay, that was before or after that someone said, this is what we want you to do?
Nobody said this is what we want you to do.
Okay, so nobody asked you to be on this? you just showed up, you just said one day, I want to be on the Readington Recreation Committee?
I grew up in this town. Being active is very important to me. I'm in the parks almost every day. Those are important to me. So, I mean, you know, when you want to volunteer, you look through the list of what's available, what the town has.
Okay.
And you
Okay.
sign up for what's important to you, and that's what I did. I submitted the same application, I'm sure, that you guys did. It was
Okay.
posted on the town's website at some point, or the Facebook a few months ago.
Okay, thank you. And then Lisa, how did you, I mean, I know that you guys were appointed, but I think it came as a shock only because the people just didn't know. Like, I think the people just weren't aware of these applications coming in or who was being appointed, and so I'm just curious how...
Well, I submitted an application, and my family, we've lived in Readington for 30 years, so I have been very active from a volunteer standpoint across New Jersey. I was the philanthropy chair of my sorority, and our main philanthropy is Ronald McDonald House for children with cancer, as well as my alumni association, NYU Stern, alumni chapter of New Jersey. And I wanted to also give back to my community, and specifically for recreation, just my family. My dad, he's at an umpire meeting today. He's an umpire, and my mom was very active in Green Acres at one point, so I feel like this was a natural fit, and I'm very excited to be here. I'm very thankful. And I'm thankful also for the former volunteers, and I look forward to working with them.
Hope they'll continue to volunteer.
I just want to say something too, that there was a form that was circulating for quite a while. Readington Township needs volunteers. I mean, this was going around for a while, so the fact that it was a surprise that they were soliciting for these positions as volunteers comes as a surprise to me, because it was like they were desperate for volunteers. I had no idea that.
Yeah. I just think what came to a surprise to a lot of people was the fact that the people typically that came to these meetings came continuously, and there really wasn't a lot of interest. You know, they kind of had to pull teeth to get people to come, and then all of a sudden, you know, we're just getting rid of people. There really was no explanation as to why, and I'm nothing against you, but there was no explanation as to why the people who I've known for years, or known their names for years, have volunteered, I keep saying, continuously, because really there was nobody else that wanted to come, or it wasn't something that they were interested in, and all of a sudden now there's all these appointments being made, and I'm wondering if there's just another agenda going on, and specifically a lot of things going on, as we know, with lawsuits and things that are going on in the town, and I feel that this appointment might bring up a lot of negativity towards that also. Another question I have, and this was not addressed, and I think it's very important to address this, is the fact that the Readington Township, the Recreation's Facebook page was taken down with no explanation. The police are still up, everybody else is still up in Readington Township, but the Readington Recreation has to go through the town's website. Have you ever tried doing that? Have you actually gone on the town's website and tried to get to Readington Recreation and the different things? It's not easy. And having that Facebook page available is it's really important to have. This is how people communicate in today's society. They communicate via social media. They will read their emails once in a while, but they're always going to scroll through. And if there's something new on there that they need to see, it comes up immediately. As far as the pickleball, people asked me what they went on. It's not here anymore. Where did it go? And I know there's been a lot of mention about like reduced amount of online registrations in the recreation department. And if you look at the timing, it may be very relevant to the fact that the Facebook page was taken down. and people using to access that site. So I think as a committee of volunteers, that I think it is very important that this might be addressed again and find out the rationale as to why that was taken down, and that to put it back up. Every other town has this, and there's no reason why our town, one of the most important, areas of Readington Township as far as, people that live here and their kids, shouldn't have that ability to have that put back up.
So ma'am, I don't know if you recall, but back in November, the old board made a recommendation to write a letter to the DC, which I was present at the meeting when Gabrielle was here to talk about it. So to meet... Use the microphone. There you go. Sorry, is that better?
Yes,
thank you. Better? Awesome. So back in November, right, there is the previous board members suggested to me...
Recreation board or township?
No, the recreational board made a recommendation to write a memo to the TC to complain about that.
Who's the TC? Township Committee?
Township Committee.
Thank you.
Right? So that issue, in my view, is still an open item.
Okay. It's really a simple item to fix, guys. Okay? It's just not something that you could just do.
Now, anything you just said,
That the memo was created?
nothing in the minutes reflects anything about a memo.
So it might have been October, so you might have to go back into October timeframe.
Can we put that, Gabrielle, can we put that in the agenda for next?
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
We
Thank
can put it
you.
in the agenda, and I'll be happy to
Sir,
share
can
the
you come up so we can hear you?
My name is Harold.
It was October,
Jones.
yeah, okay.
My name is Harold Jones. I live here in White House Station. I came here to speak on one issue which was addressed to some degree, but it kind of leads me to one general issue, and that's the issue of governance. The communications problems that have caused financial difficulties for the department are all a function of governance. Annually, this committee is aware that it needs to have a quorum in order to conduct business, correct? You made reference to the fact that we didn't approve these minutes because only 2 members of the committee were present. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yes, yet this document says 7 people are present, so which is 2 or 7?
So...
Second,
Okay.
our liaison from the township committee is not present. That's very regrettable, because you are an advisory body, and you have no fiduciary or functional purpose, correct? You are here to advise them. And one of the things that I think is most important for you to advise them on is the composition of your own committee. You are well aware every year in January that the township committee needs to appoint 5 permanent and 2 alternate members of this committee. Did the committee in November make any recommendations based on applications and the record of volunteer service and attendance at meetings as required by the bylaws? Are you even aware of the applications that are submitted to serve on this committee? Do you review them? Do you make recommendations as to whether they should continue or have a more active role? Those are governance questions that do not seem to be addressed by virtue of the fact that I do not seem to be aware of any recommendations that were made for anyone specifically to be appointed to this committee by the previous members of the committee. Yes.
I could help you with that.
Was there a recommendation made for 7 people to be named to this committee by the previous
The mayor
committee?
only asked for a list of reappointments, who's to be reappointed, which we gave them.
Did
Our
this committee get a chance to review any of the applications that were submitted to serve on the Recreation Committee?
No.
Who does get to review them?
We did not.
Who does get to review them?
Our recommendation was a person who's been attending the meetings for 2 years now, trying to get on the committee. Our liaison was aware of that, but he was not, no one asked.
So when these 3 new members of the committee who came here with all the best of intentions indicate that they completed a volunteer application and submitted it, where did it go? Who looked at their application and decided, yeah, you're a good fit for the Recreation Committee, we think that's a good idea?
That would be
So
Mr.
I'm
Albanese,
asking,
would
who
you like
looked,
to say
to whom
who
were
reviewed
these
that?
applications submitted and who reviewed them?
So, just one small correction, it's not 3 new members, there's 4 new members.
I was pointing to the 3 that spoke. I realize Mr. Mitchell is a new member
There's
as well.
4 new members.
Yes,
And to
and
be
so I'm
honest-
simply pointing out, if the township committee is going to appoint 7 people, it should be the function of this committee to review the people that have volunteered, that have submitted applications, that met all of the criteria that are listed here for membership on this committee, and make a recommendation for who might or might not be suitable to serve. That does not eliminate the township committee's opportunity to pick anybody they want. In the end, the ordinance doesn't say that this binds them. It binds you, but it doesn't bind them. So they get to pick anybody they want regardless of the recommendations that we
Right,
make.
and that's the...
But good governance would lead one to think that the future of your own committee should be thought about annually, and you say, you know what, we need somebody with this skill, we need somebody with that skill, this person needs to be recognized for the great service that they've performed, and the way that people were dismissed from this committee is not a reflection on the members of the committee now. You had nothing to do with whether or not they're members of the committee. The reflection ought to be on the township committee for the poor way in which they recognized the long-term service of many of the members of this committee who deserved better. And it might serve this committee well to make some governance recommendations on a structure to recognize volunteer service, to award a 5-year recognition and a 10-year recognition, and to do something in a much more systematized manner so that people who have spent 25 years providing service don't feel degraded and embarrassed at the end of such a proper and fitting service to our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, John Albanese. I'm a member of the Township Committee. I was, just to follow up on Mr. Jones there, I was the liaison to the Recreation Department, very happy to do that, for 6 years, up until this year. So to answer your question, no. There were no recommendations made through me. I was not consulted at all. I probably have attended 40, 50 Recreation Committee meetings over the years, knew everybody very well, knew their value, was not consulted.
Thank you, John.
Just came from travel basketball practice too. Very involved in the rec department.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Ziemba. I have been a Readington resident for 10 years. I have 3 children that my husband and I have raised here in this town that we absolutely love. Before I proceed with my questions and comments, I would like to make it known that I do not know any former Recreation Committee members, and I do not know any current Recreation Committee members. So I'm completely unbiased in what I bring to the table this evening. First, I would like to thank the director and the assistant director for all of your work and your service. We have enjoyed your programming for countless years. I'd like to thank Allison for your years of service on this board, and I appreciate the history that you shared of your volunteerism for this committee and prior to being officially appointed. I'd like to thank Mr. Albanese for your work as a liaison and working so well with this group. To the former committee members, I have no idea who you are, but I'm grateful for you. And I apologize for what has happened to you and what I've learned about over the last few weeks. It is more than unfortunate and very disappointing in our local leadership and government that this has happened to you. And that is what has brought me here today. To Ms. Sherwood, I appreciate your comments and your candor. It's highly unfortunate that you were put in this position, and I feel for you. I was asked to apply to be a committee member for this town. And I thank goodness that my life was too busy in November and December to do so. Because had I been put in the same position that you are in, I would be very upset
that I dismissed so many members with so much experience. So leading to my question, I have a question directly to Miss Panico. Do you feel that there's a conflict of interest of you being on this committee as well as the Township Committee liaison and your direct relation to one another?
Absolutely not, and that's well established.
How is that well established?
There's New Jersey regulatory guidance on that, so I'd encourage you to read that if you're
So can you please educate me? What does it say?
It's not a conflict of interest.
I'm sure there's more to that.
Not a legal conflict of interest.
Not a legal conference, okay. So in terms of updating bylaws and guidelines, I would like to make some suggestions and recommendations for you all to note as you do that. First, I should encourage you to consider that there would be and could be conflict of interest that should be included in your updates and revisions. Additionally, I am recommending and suggesting that you add guidelines around former participation as a volunteer on this committee and participation at meetings as well prior to be appointed. And lastly, I strongly recommend that there's some process or guideline defined in terms of communication. It is embarrassing that this town would dismiss committee members without their knowledge or even appoint them without their knowledge. So as you update those, please consider my recommendations, and I look forward to seeing them. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the purpose of the Recreation Department, and the Recreation Committee supports the Recreation Department, is to serve the community with registrations, the different programs that are available, sports, art, all the different things that are out there. I was late, and I'm hearing, I want to see the budget, I want to work on policies and procedures. You guys have been appointed for about 3 weeks. Has anybody, there's recreation going on, programs every night of the week, including Saturdays. Has anybody said, let me dig in and see what the recreation programs are about? Attended some of them?
Yeah, I play in the men's basketball league.
Okay.
I'm signed up to attend in the spring.
What's that?
I'm signed up to attend in the spring.
So so things are going on. We have kids playing in sports. Okay, you're signed up for, that's for yourself. What I'm saying is,
I'm very familiar with all
right,
of
and
that.
you outlined that, and your volunteerism is great. That we appreciate, and I think you're here for the right reasons. It seems that way, Mr. Mitchell as well. But when I hear your focus is the budget, policies, and procedures, I don't know that you need to have an understanding of what the programs are by attending them, seeing what summer camp looks like, seeing what a recreational basketball game looks like, and seeing the interaction with the players and the parents and all that. So you've had 3 weeks. This has been contentious so far. I'd encourage you to focus on that kind of thing before you get into, all the mechanics of things that you really don't have much jurisdiction on.
Thanks, John. Any other comments from the public?
I wasn't going to, but I have a couple of things. I'm Melissa Adams. I'm one of those people that used to be on it. So I'm just trying to figure this out. Manny, you just showed up last year. I mean, good, bad, and different. I'm not, but did you fill out an application? And because you didn't attend 3 meetings or had never been.
So the notion of the 3-meeting regulation was not something I was aware of. But I was already at board meeting in the township, in open space for many years prior to joining last year. I was also a member of the Board of Adjustment. What I had noticed and expressed my interest is that there was a open slot in the recreational committee that was not filled. So I expressed interest sometime in November the previous year to say, well, next year I'd like to join that committee.
To Gabrielle, or?
I didn't express it to Gabrielle, no. I expressed it to the township.
To John?
No, to not John, other members of the township
To
committee.
Vinny or Adam, or?
No, Vinny was not in at that point.
Okay.
In the picture that I'm aware of.
I'm just curious.
Jurgen was someone that I expressed interest to, because he's also the chair of the open space, which I'm a member of. So,
And by the way, Manny's been a valuable member for the last year, and you listened, you observed, and I think you learned a lot.
I certainly learned a lot. Like I said, probably more than I've signed up for at the beginning. I don't know how many hot dogs I did. But certainly it was a fun experience, and it was a learning year for me.
But 1 year Manny's been on.
Yeah.
So you guys, you sound very, I like your experience. I'm glad that you're here for the right reasons. I just wish you both asked Allison a few more questions when she nominated herself. Allison's been on 5 years. She's been very involved in the community. It just would have been nice that you could have asked a couple questions, and maybe after hearing that she'd been on the committee for 5 years, as opposed to Manny's one, that maybe she deserved to be the chair, as opposed to. But I get it, you're thrown into this, and, but it was just a comment. I think that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Melissa.
I just have one more question, I'm sorry. I tend to vent a little bit. And I have a loud mouth, so I probably don't need this microphone. I understand where everybody's coming from. I just think that it's a shame that this has evolved into what it has. I just think that things were quiet, things were running, things were smooth, and all of a sudden, there's a lawsuit out there, and I'm just going to say it. There's a lawsuit out there involving people that we know, and the township committee members, whatever happened, they said they declined the settlement, and now all of a sudden, now the recreation department seems to be on this totem pole. Let's see who we can knock off. It just seems like it's a target, and I don't understand that. It's a volunteer. You guys are volunteers. And you all submitted applications. That is wonderful, thank you. But I'm just wondering, when you submitted your applications, do you know who it went to? Did you hand it in, or?
I submitted mine online.
I think it's, yeah.
And do you know where it said it was going to? Because it doesn't seem that anybody that is here tonight knew about it. That's a big problem, okay? Not for you guys or whatever, but I just think in the future, things need to be a little bit more open and clarity, and what happened last month should never ever happen. It's a laughing stock what happened. And it takes our town and it makes our town look ridiculous, okay? And I really think that, whoever is involved behind this, it just really needs to just stop, okay? And, people that are being targeted, that needs to stop. I think that the town is going to learn a lesson that's going to be really important for the residents if their tax-paying dollars go up, because they have to support a lawsuit that's outside of other things that might happen because of some of these decisions that are being made. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bill Quinn. I'm a township resident, and I was also on the committee for a few years. I did start, I believe it was September 1999 when I started attending. And I attended meetings for a couple of years before, I guess, a position opened, and they asked me to apply for it, so I did. But in the last few years, and I know somebody brought up some statistics, so you're going through the minutes. I looked at the past minutes for the last year, and I believe I attended every meeting. But it's unfair to compare the COVID years when all the programs were shut down and to use those statistics to justify any action or comments about volunteers who have been involved in the programs. Just like it's unfair to say we had a 500% increase in registration from one year to the other, it's because of the COVID. All our programs were shut down, schools were shut down, the parks were shut down, and even meetings here were limited. So to say we only had 8 meetings in a given year, and we did meet in parks outside where it was socially distanced and acceptable when those parks did reopen. So that it's just unfair to compare that time and to make comments about people's attendance because of that. So that's my comment to the comments you had.
Thank you.
Hello. I'm Melissa. I've been a resident of the county for 12 years now. My kids have been active in the rec program since they were like 3, 4. I've seen your face all over. So I've seen you volunteering. I just wanted to say that jumping into the meeting and talking about the bylaws and how things need to be changed, is it because they weren't followed in appointing you specifically?
No, it's because they haven't been followed in many ways, and because they conflict with the municipal code, which is not appropriate.
Have you volunteered for any of the rec programs? Have you coached? Have you been a part of any of them?
I haven't coached.
What have you participated in that piques your interest in doing this? Like, I see, her heart and soul is in this because her children, and she's been so involved. I'm just curious, you've just been very defensive about answering questions and actually refusing to answer questions, and it just comes off as a bad look. Like, you're now representing our recreation department and the things that we're sending our children to, and you're a stranger. So what have you done in the Readington Rec Department? What have you participated in with the children? Have you gone to the summer spectacular?
I have been involved with the rec programs. I grew up through the rec programs, Readington rec programs. I think I respect the volunteers here who have been participating for so long, and I'm looking forward to being even more involved, and I think there's a lot of ways that I can do that, and I'm very excited to work with Gabriella to hear what the best ways to support her and Dina are.
So what have you done as an adult with rec? You participated as a child, but like what piqued your interest with this? What drew you to it?
When I've participated in our open space hikes, I'm in our parks again almost every day. I've been to the summer spectacular. I think it's important to be involved with the community, and so that's why I submitted the volunteer application.
I will say this, right, because I don't know if I've noticed that a lot of people are targeting stuff at Stephanie. I myself didn't volunteer in any of the rec programs prior to expressing my interest to fill a slot that was open, right? And I only did it because my son was starting to get at an age where he wanted to get involved in the programs. And that was my whole sole initiative, right? So it's not like I had prior experience. So technically, you could also falter me or maybe other members on the team.
But you chose to do it because your son was getting involved in it, just like my husband is now a coach for football because our children are involved, and he wanted to give back to the community, and when there was a need for volunteers, he jumped in and did it, and jumped through all the hoops and did the fingerprinting and all that to be a coach. So the reason why I think a lot of questions have been targeted here is because nothing has been answered. When everybody was asked a question, everybody gave their reason why they're here, what their experience is, why they wanted to be a part of this program, and she refused to answer the question. We're parents. Our kids are all a part of this program. Instead of being dismissive and abrasive, just say, I really wanted to be a part of this for whatever reason, but not just, thank you for your comment. Everyone else gave a reason. You didn't really give a reason either, but.
Well, I make volunteerism a high priority in my life, and I submitted the general application, and even with Steph, like, we went on open space hikes, and personally I see a lot of potential for even integration with recreation with some of these other groups. So personally, I want to give back, especially to my local community, and I give back to other volunteer organizations in New Jersey, and I'm looking forward to that. And I want to strongly emphasize that, especially the former volunteers, I really respect their experience, and I really want to learn from them. So I view this as a partnership. I think we all view it as a partnership.
Thank you for your answer.
I feel like I'm on trial.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a mom.
I told you I've signed up.
No, I know she's a lawyer, but I'm not.
I've signed up for programs. I grew up in these programs.
I know you were a child in
I've signed up for
them.
them as an adult. I've been on the open space hikes. I've been volunteering my entire adult life. Like, I don't know what else I can tell you. And I don't know how that has come across as dismissive. I've been answering the question.
This is the first time you answered a question, so I appreciate that.
That's not, I've said before all of those things.
You just kept talking about your childhood, that was all.
I've said each of those things before. This is not the first time. So I hope that I've given you an answer that is acceptable to you.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is David. I'm also in the community, and I have children in the district. Oh, yes, hi. I just want to ask a question. I just feel like, having heard a lot of what was being said, I have a question. Now that you're seeing and you're hearing, and I know there's been references to not really being as familiar or aware of how the process played itself out, but now you are, and now you have volunteers that are volunteering in Readington, a town that is a wonderful town, that the programs and the rec programs support our children, and kind of hearing how this all played itself out, and knowing that there are people who committed years of time to these programs. I'm just curious to know, I know how I would feel. As a dad, as an adult, I might question and maybe consider stepping down to allow somebody else who has given so much time and has been there for our programs, that have made the programs what they are, that have given our children the experiences they are. Not to say that your intentions aren't to kind of build upon that, but the way in which it went down, I wouldn't feel comfortable or proud of myself knowing that those that came before us, those that have been here for years, have been just overlooked. And I just kind of feel like, my question is solely just as a parent, as an adult, as hearing all of this, would either of you guys consider stepping aside and saying, you know what, my intentions were right. However, now that I've kind of heard all this, now that it doesn't sound like one new person that came on has the experience or the level of commitment that everybody had. And I'm just questioning because I feel like it's almost the right thing to do. And in this day and age, sometimes doing the right thing, we seem to have lost that. And so my question would be, I feel that if I were in your shoes, that I would really consider saying, wow, here are volunteers that have been part of this program and this rec program, and you've been wonderful, even from boys playing basketball and everything like that, and organizing it. I truly mean that. And it's not anything against anybody, but I just feel like it was an oversight. And sometimes having the ability to do the right thing isn't the easiest thing, but it is the right thing. And in this, I just feel like to have a committee that represents everybody fairly just seems like the right thing. So, thank you. I mean, I kind of asked, would anybody be willing to do that, but it's just thought. And I do thank you for all your time, volunteer. I don't know everybody, but Eric and I know everybody's good. So thank you, especially you.
That was very sweet. I don't think it was an oversight. I think it was political, but that's neither here nor there. I think it's nice to have new blood on the committee. I don't think you should step down. I think you should dig in and really work with Gabrielle and Dina and help out. And I'm going to speak for these guys, but I think I'm right, and tell me if I'm not right. We've all been on this committee for a really long time. We like it. We enjoyed it. It was fun. But we've done it for a long time. We would have loved to have people that really wanted to be on the committee. We tried. You know, I had a young woman come. She came for 3 or 4 meetings, but it just became too much for her. She had little kids. But it sounds like you two maybe really wanted to be on the committee, and that would have been awesome, and we would have loved to have gotten you in for 3 or 4 meetings, trained you, and then one of us would have stepped down. We didn't need to be on the committee. It's what's going on here right now is just the way that it was handled. And you didn't have your applications in. We didn't see them. We didn't know about it. We didn't know it was coming in. So it just happened, and it was bad. And but hopefully you guys are going to rise above it and make it, you know, really dig in and understand recreation and follow the bylaws. And you know, we were all there for a long time, so we probably took liberties, but I think you can do some good things. So dig in. Gabrielle's fantastic. Lisa's fantastic. They will help you. Allison will help you. Manny will help you, and I think it can be great. And you know, we are all very dedicated volunteers in this town, so we're not going away, but it just shouldn't have happened this way. So I thank all these people here that spoke on our behalf so nicely and graciously, and actually appreciate the work that we've done over the years under Gabrielle's tutelage and before Gabrielle Greta. So anyway. Thanks. I swear I'm done.
Thank you, Melissa.
Hi, Carol Hampel. So I know a couple of you, Carolyn. I just wanted the bylaws to me, reading them, and I haven't been to a rec committee before, and you know, obviously this has been all over Readington. We have similar bylaws to what you have in your committee, right? Attend 3 meetings. In our bylaws, it's HCBMX in Flemington. You have to be nominated, right? So it's very similar. It's really valuable because you get the information, you get to know what's happening in the department, the committee, whatever it is, and understand what you're getting into, and the people that are on the committee get to buy into you. So I agree with the bylaws, and I would support recommending to the township committee that you follow the bylaws when it comes to the appointments. Additionally, I would love for a recommendation to go back to the committee that the Facebook page come back, because they are a completely different audience. And lastly, if the committee could make a recommendation to the committee to support the Readington News, because I think the Recreation Committee, the department, can have a lot of, get a lot more touch with the news. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any additional comments from the public? comments from the board members?
I think I have a comment. I just would like to say thank you to all the volunteers because you absolutely have put your time in and we appreciate it. I know that I do, I'm sure we all do. And on behalf of the families in town, thank you so much for your time. I also hope that we can move forward from today and work together. If you still are open to volunteering and working with us, I really do hope that we can work together because it's all for our kids, you know? And I'm certainly always available. Find me on Facebook, talk to me, email me, text, call. I'm always available, always willing to hear everybody's, you know, ideas. And so I just hope that you give us a chance. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members? Do we have a motion to adjourn for today?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next meeting is February 28th at 7:30.
Thank you, everyone.